Man merely raised 12 fingers, and in an instant, wiped out the 8,000-strong army charging at him. Circular gashes appeared on every soldier's body. Before the general at the head of the army could even react, the same gash appeared on his own face. Before the general could even open his mouth to beg for mercy, the mysterious man used his superpowers to kill him. And this was precisely the miraculous ability used by the superpowered clan to defend their homeland. As time passed, his descendant Jack inherited only a fraction of this power. The holes he created were no larger than a grain of rice. Moreover, in the eyes of his classmates, a superpower that couldn't be used to make money was rubbish. To prove he wasn't a failure, Jack was desperate to discover what his superpower could actually be used for. But what he hadn't anticipated was that this ability is a genuine killing technique. And once one glimpsed the true nature of the power, one would, like the clan leader of the superpowered, turn into a monster neither human nor ghost. With the influx of outside culture and the dilution of their bloodline, the younger generation of the superpowered clan had become increasingly unruly. When a construction company sought to build a golf course in the mountains, they were immediately warned. Yet the man, gazing at the gaping hole in the window, looked utterly baffled. Just as he was about to reach out to touch it, there was a sharp crack, and a sudden, searing pain shot through his arm. He was about to cry out when, unexpectedly, another flash of white light appeared. The young psychics were defending their homeland in their own way. Meanwhile, Jack was still fretting over what job to find. He paid a visit to a professor of folklore and gave a live demonstration of his unique skill. To his surprise, Lisa didn't bat an eyelid. She simply pulled a cup from under the table and remarked that the professor had made a hole that was both larger and wider. She then invited Jack to join their research group. It was only later that Jack discovered the professor had gone missing after returning to his hometown to visit family not long before. Judging by Jack's surname, it was highly likely that he belonged to a branch of the superhuman clan. To investigate the professor's disappearance, Jack's powers were indispensable. As this journey into the unknown began, the veil of mystery surrounding the superhuman clan was about to be lifted. They first went to the local heritage museum, where they unexpectedly discovered armor left over from a war 1,000 years ago. The unusually neat circular notches served as proof that the clan had repelled countless invasions by foreign enemies. And on the wall, amongst the banners, they discovered the magpie banner of the superhuman clan. A black orb, encircled by a hand and a magpie, exuded an air of profound mystery. Next, they set about asking around with the professor's photograph in hand. Yet the local villagers' attitude towards them was uncharacteristically cold. Carl and Anna at the cafe seemed to know something, but were unable to speak out whilst the villagers were present. Just as the group chatted and mentioned Jack's name, the villagers' attitude underwent a complete turnaround. They even held a grand welcome banquet for the group. Jack, seated at the head of the table, felt somewhat at a loss. Just as the villagers were asking him if he possessed superpowers, a group of uninvited guests arrived at the banquet. It turned out that just moments earlier, Carl had been provoked by a gang sent by the property developer. The gang leader, still seething with anger, had snatched Carl's hat right off his head. The strange bead on Carl's forehead sent a shiver down the group's spines. They had intended to leave immediately, but before they had taken a few steps, they heard several loud explosions. Their upper bodies were intact, yet their lower halves were left lying on the ground forever. It was precisely upon discovering these severed limbs that the police came to question the villagers. But the villagers had no intention of cooperating. Just as the police were leaving in disarray, Jack had already drunk himself into a stupor. The villagers had not received the answers they sought, and once the party had departed, their demeanor changed completely. The Chishi festival was fast approaching. They didn't want a few outsiders causing trouble. But the very next day, Anna came knocking. Faced with the beauty's questions, Jack immediately demonstrated his special skills. The landlady downstairs was drawn over as well. Seeing the look of utter exhaustion on Jack's face, she quietly closed the door behind the two of them. Anna wanted the man to go again, but seeing he was completely spent, she had no choice but to leave. Just as the village's Chishi festival began, the pair met once more, and it was only then that Anna revealed a mere glimpse of her clan's supernatural abilities. It turned out that their clan's powers fell into two categories: those who could reach out to others, and those who could open windows to the outside world. As for Anna, apart from frequently having strange nightmares, she had not discovered any special abilities within herself. Just as the two were chatting idly, the investigation team at the inn began piecing things together. The Chishi festival is clearly supposed to be in July, yet the villagers had held it a month early. Coupled with the recent spate of murders, Lisa believed the village seemed to harbor some terrible secret. It was highly likely that the professor was in grave danger. For the sake of his students' safety, he had bought them tickets, yet he had stayed behind alone. Even if it meant finding his body, she was determined to track down the professor. But just after they had checked out, the innkeeper discovered a drink can with a hole punched in it by Jack. She immediately spread the news. Carl was the first to come knocking, but the innkeeper knew full well he was a dangerous man. She intended to ring for help, but the very next second, using the guest register. Carl quickly tracked down Jack's whereabouts. Yet his strange attire aroused his classmates' suspicion, and they refused point-blank to reveal Jack's whereabouts. Just as Carl was beginning to lose patience, a friend of Jack's from the same club happened to pass by and immediately showed him the way. As the club president, Jack immediately began his demonstration. But Carl gave him a dismissive glance. He immediately demonstrated to Jack the correct way to use his superpowers. A black sphere in his hand grew larger and larger as he rubbed it. As the sphere hovered in midair, Carl immediately picked up a drinks bottle and hurled it at it. It turned out that the black sphere reacted instantly upon contact with any solid or liquid, absorbing a volume equal to that of the object. Under Carl's guidance, Jack also tried to conjure a black sphere, but his sphere was not only small but also failed to last. Carl then explained that pure-blooded psychics usually have 6 fingers. Although their branch of the ability lacked this, they could rely on mental suggestion to concentrate their power into a single point, and then retrieve a small object from outside the window. Jack grasped the concept instantly. As the black sphere grew larger and larger with each roll of his hands, even Carl found himself envying this talent. To make the black sphere disappear, he hurried off to fetch a bucket. Jack had finally awakened his true power. He couldn't wait to share the good news with Anna, but she reminded him that not all superhumans were good people. When someone used this ability for evil, the entire world order would be altered by it. Just a few dozen kilometers away, at a parliamentary election rally, a mysterious hooded man suddenly appeared outside the venue. He pressed both hands against the wall. As he exerted force with his 12 fingers, a dark, shadowy sphere suddenly materialized in the hall. The candidate, who was in the middle of his speech, was baffled. He couldn't resist giving it a puff. The hall instantly descended into chaos. Once the powers of the superpower clan were used for assassination, no one could withstand this unstoppable destructive force.